Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Aidas. I'm the co-founder and director for Big Property Group. Now, one of our companies in the group is Service City Apartments, which is effectively service accommodation. Now, in this video, I wanted to discuss briefly what is service accommodation and should you avoid it, should you consider it, or should you do it? What is service accommodation? Well, think of it as a hotel kind of concept. So you're accommodating people in a city where they're traveling to for, it could be anywhere from a night to a few nights, it could be a few weeks or a little bit more. So it's not your typical rental unit where you kind of let it on a tenancy agreement for like 6 months plus. What this allows is actually for you to charge almost a premium for being able to have someone stay there for a few nights or a few weeks. So this is ultimately where kind of service accommodation kicks in. So it's not your typical hotel, because what you're offering to the person traveling to the city is better convenience, because they've got their own kitchen, their own living room. So it's almost like a home away from home for them, which you're providing. And that could be a house, it could be a 3-4 bedroom house for them, it could be a studio apartment or a 2-bedroom apartment or whatever that might be. You're almost providing a service. But think of it, it is a hospitality business. It's no longer a property strategy. So the main thing for you to kind of think about is it is a business, and it's not a very passive business because it's quite time intensive. But yeah, in a nutshell, this is what is service accommodation. We have been running service accommodation for a little over a few years now. We actually started the business in start of 2019, and we've took our time to actually systemize and get the foundations right for the business, which has allowed us to ultimately be doubling the business every year on. We're at a point now where we're actually accommodating around 200 people per night. So that's quite a sizable operation running here in Birmingham. We're actually one of the larger operators within the city. We mainly focus on corporate clients. We found that's one of our strengths. We work with a lot of big blue chip companies such as HS2, Jaguar Land Rover, NHS, etc. And that has really allowed us to systemize the business, have the kind of repeat clients and build it that way. So we have that scalability of it. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about service accommodation, that you can actually scale it, but as long as you have the right systems, processes, and team in place, which is absolutely crucial, because otherwise you might end up running around like a headless chicken trying to get everything sorted. Because don't forget, service accommodation is actually a very time-intensive business. And as I say, it's a lot of people look at it as a property strategy, which I would definitely say no to that, because you are running a hospitality business at the end of the day. So yeah, but if you do it correctly, it's a brilliant business to be in. Let's put things into perspective and look at some figures so you can understand the business model a little bit better. For the purpose of this exercise, let's use a 3-bedroom house as an example. So you might already be a landlord who owns a house that you could potentially repurpose for short-term lets. The only thing is that you need to make sure you're setting it up in a way that's going to be suitable for the market you're going to be targeting. We'll probably do another video where we kind of dissect which properties we set which way, because we kind of cater a few different markets effectively. So you might either own the house, or you might go out and find a landlord who you take the control of the house, either in a form of a rent-to-rent or a lease. And we'll probably do another video as well on those two things as well, so you kind of distinguish the differences between a rent-to-rent and a lease, and how you take control and manage that house. So for example, we look at a house, okay? So you have 3 bedrooms on the first floor, okay? And you normally will have 2 reception rooms on the ground floor. What we would normally do is, in order to maximize the strategy, you want to sleep more people in the building. So let's say you convert one of the reception rooms into a bedroom. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms in the property, so you can sleep up to 4 people. Now, you might be smart and you actually might put twin beds, but in this example we'll just use as double beds, so we have 4 people in the house. Now, in Birmingham, for example, a 3-bedroom house, you're kind of looking around £1,000 a month for rent for that. Now, you would be able to, that you would pay to the landlord. Now, in terms of the kind of nightly rates in Birmingham, you're probably looking around at £100 a night. Now, for the purpose of this example, we'll say that on average your occupancy rate is going to be around 80% per month, which is meaning that you're going to be letting this property for 24 nights out of a month. We actually achieve higher occupancy rates, and we actually achieve higher nightly rates. But as an example, we'll look at this. So 24 nights at £100 a night, it means that your revenue is £2,400 a month you're receiving in kind of your gross revenue. Now, your costs are going to be your rent, which we said on average you'll pay £1,000. Now you're going to have other costs associated as well. So you're going to have your bills. So for bills, you normally for a 3-bedroom house, you're on average looking around £400. It should be a little bit less, but let's say around £400. Now you're going to have other operating costs as well. So you're going to have to account for your cleaners, your linen changes, your toiletries. So you could roughly allocate, say, operating costs around £200 a month. Now, what that means is if we deduct from 2,400 the rent, bills and operations, it means you're left with around £800 per month profit on the house you might not even be owning. You're just basically doing rental arbitrage where you're kind of taking control of the property and running it in a different way. So you're not letting it to a family, you're basically using it as a hotel. And we actually average around £1,000 a month per property. That's kind of our benchmark when we're taking on a property, whether if we're acquiring it as a purchase or if we're doing it as a lease, we're looking to achieve around £1,000 a month. Now conservatively we're looking around £800. Now how many of these do you need to replace your income? Not that many. It is really a case of, if you kind of run 3-4 properties, you really are replacing your income. So the question is, should you avoid a strategy like this? Should you consider it, or should you do it? Before we answer that question, I think we really need to look at your individual circumstances, because there's pros and cons with this strategy. Some of the pros are it's very scalable, it's relatively low cost to entry, so you don't really need to spend a lot of money on deposit or acquiring the buildings, because you can technically rent them out on a lease and then obviously run this model. Other pros are it's quite high cash flow. You can obviously build the momentum and build it up. So those are the main key things that you really want to be thinking about, is obviously cash flow, scalability, a relatively easy entry into the marketplace. The cons are, or the negative sides of it, is that one thing is it's very high intensive in terms of time. So you need to make sure you've got that in place, because the people who will be staying in those houses will potentially need you 24/7. Now, one way around that is obviously systemize things, have the right team in place. That's what we've done, and that's what's allowed us to grow. It's just basically, it's a business. It's not a passive strategy, but if you do it right, you can really replace your income fairly quickly and actually scale that to some crazy numbers. Now, I think you should really consider this strategy, but look at your personal circumstances. I personally love it because it's allowed us to really kind of, grow this business fairly quickly. I mean, we're in this for a fair few years now, but it's allowing us to acquire more assets from the cash flow we're generating from this business. So I think it's a really great model, but you need to look at your individual circumstances. And we will be doing more videos around service accommodation, because that's something I'm actually very passionate about. It's one of the strategies we've been using for some time now, alongside HMOs and developments. So make sure you check out some of the other videos on the channel. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Let me know what you would like me to cover in the next video, specifically around service accommodation, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.